John Lennon and his mother Yoko Ono have been running a genocide pornography auction house as part of the attacks that included AIDS and COVID. It's interesting that they had a very brutal storyline going during AIDS. It's surprising that it didn't recoil on them when they released COVID, but it hasn't, and they're using the same storyline again. One of the stories that they tell, I was horrifically attacked and tortured, and I was kidnapped and gassed. And they claimed that I wasn't. They claimed that the property that they were securing while holding me hostage, which they've made money um, selling through museum theft, black market fences, which the city of Pittsburgh calls under the blanket term the nature of reality. Um, there's no authenticity until you admit you were a love slave to John Lennon. And they murdered Cersei Kennedy over something that was called Night of the Lebo. And Night of the Lebo, I've never read, but I remember one line: thing of dreaded horrors comes out of a nearby quick easy camp. Now, people used to jag me, that was the word in vogue, for not wanting to drink carbonated beverages like Coke, not wanting to eat pizza because it was too strong. And my mother was a very controlling mother who shouted me down. She didn't allow me to have thoughts of my own. She made me very obedient. And then she spread this storyline among the neighbors that I was out of control and taking all of these risks. Mark Mancini and Dawn Ostro. Mancini was 21, Ostro was 18. I was 12 or 13 years old. Took me to a film lab of Cyril Wax and put paint thinner in a paper bag, put it over my face, and got me into a state of coma, after which they poured alcohol down my mouth, got me very drunk, and probably shoved gobs of pizza down my face. And when I came to, they were laughing, saying, "Hey, look, it's Ringo Starr's best friend." And so I was like, out of a nearby quick easy can, thing of dreaded horrors. And this was this kid who would come, and they would, you know, make him out to be something that was subhuman or something. And I thought he was just another person. So anyway, this is why they say that their mob has control over the perception. So they just free smacks on Cersei Kennedy and they killed. I was brutally tortured and gassed. The letter shows you what kind of environment the girl who they were hookering me to, who St. Louis and their partner of the partner Kim say proves the immorality of a battered 13-year-old who this girl wanted terribly to seduce, and she was overdeveloped. I mean, admittedly, it was going too far, but if you look at my actual behavior, when I was dealing with girls, I crept very, very slowly towards the bra, always. So if this girl wasn't experienced and leading me on, it would have never happened. So I'm dealing with the criminally insane, but they have a brokerage that has stolen from the museums, has murdered several Kennedys, and is holding our world on the brink of nuclear ultimatum, claiming they're avenging somebody who all the evidence shows just pulled a Houdini to avenge Adolf Hitler. If you look at Queen Elizabeth, you will see she used to seek high. They see themselves as much more important than ordinary people. And so, I'm not trying to sell Night of the Lebo or repossess Night of the Lebo. I don't really care what happens to it. But if you look at the letters I was writing at the time, you'll see that these murderers were playing nice in between. Like, for example, Heads Together, where I worked. I didn't have a working permit, which under Pennsylvania laws. So Pennsylvania laws don't apply in these circumstances. None of these people care about Pennsylvania law. When they stole from museums, they didn't care about Pennsylvania. I asked somebody who owns a hardware store once, would you, up in Penn Hills, would you give a child um, inhalants, force a child to use inhalants who didn't want them? Or would you introduce a child to inhalants? He said, I wouldn't give child inhalants if they were pleading with me to please give them to them. I was hardly saying please. These motherfuckers threatened to kill somebody if he didn't lead me into their trap. And supposedly this girl liked me, and I was at a loss for how to disentangle myself from that situation. And these murderers are still at large, still conducting experiments, and they call it empirical science. They set up a barrage of media system, normalizing sex, saying girls like it. She's got to have it. Okay, there's a good example. The Cornell West spinner beanie dude who's favorite of Donald Trump puts out a movie called She's Gotta Have It, right? Exonerates all this two-timing and, you know, women's caprice. And then says they will come collecting from somebody who they brutally tortured and gassed because he was slowly going for the bra second base and scooting away if the girl showed disinclination. They come collecting from the Kennedys for that by murder of the Kennedys. This is what St. Louis is doing with Peter Gabriel.